Welcome back to the Just for Clicks podcast. I'm your host, Forrest Whaley, and with me again is my wife, Alyssa.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah, today we're going to be doing some fun stuff. We got things to go over. We got some positive events that have happened. We've got some hot takes. We've got emails, and we've got our marquee topic of Spongebob Squarepants. Yeah, let's get right into it with our first segment, the news. All right, so we're going to do this. We're going to go on Twitter. We do this every week. And we're going to just get our off-the-cuff reactions to what's going on in the trending section of Twitter. You know, whatever is being funneled to us, put in front of us. We have Chris Pratt trending right now in the U.S. One has to go out of the four Chris's. Chris Pine, Chris Hemsworth, Chris Pratt, and Chris Evans. Which one should go, hon?
I have to choose my least favorite, Chris.
Yeah, you got to get rid of one. I know, it's a hard choice.
I guess Chris Pine, but that was really hard.
Brutal.
That was really hard.
I know. They're also good. Yeah, I would probably drop Chris Pratt just because he's a Christian, and I'm not really into like Christianity and all that kind of stuff. But he's getting dragged right now on Twitter for his support of Trump or whatever.
Isn't it just his non-support of Biden? Like, not necessarily his support of Trump?
Well, he goes to a church that is supportive of conversion therapy, allegedly. That's what I've heard on Twitter, reading about this. I don't really care. I think people should be allowed to have varying opinions. I don't agree with it. And, you know, but also people should be allowed to, like, drag people on Twitter if they want. It's not like he's being fired from, like, Guardians or anything. So if people want to complain about Chris Pratt on Twitter, I don't really have a problem with that. It's just, I think there's better things to complain about than Chris Pratt. I think he's pretty inoffensive. He just holds some views that, you know, I don't agree with personally. But, yeah, so I don't really think that's a reason to be mad at him necessarily. I still like him.
Yeah.
But out of these four, I would say, yeah, he's probably the worst actor. All right. You got anything more to say on that or no? You good?
I'm good.
You good on that one?
Mm-hmm.
Me too. Asian women on normalizing the conversation around mental health doesn't seem like that would interest me too much. This is so random. I feel like these are always so random. They're always like geared towards you too. So it's like TikTok, but for random news articles. Yeah, we'll go to trending. Yeah. More sports stuff. I feel like ever since sports started, it's just dominating Twitter. It's crazy.
That's annoying. I don't like sports.
Yeah, every time I go on the trending tab now, it's all talking about sports. It was much more interesting when it was just before, you know, while sports were canceled. But I'm glad people are enjoying it. All right, let's get out of here. Let's move on to our next subject. Positive events that have happened this week. We wanted to talk about The Haunting of Bly Manor, right?
Yeah.
This is Mike Flanagan's new show on Netflix. Thankfully, they were able to wrap up filming on it just a month before the whole pandemic happened. And it just came out recently, and it's freaking awesome.
Yeah, it's really exciting because I love The Haunting of Hill House. It's probably my favorite show on Netflix right now.
Yeah.
And I was super ecstatic when I saw The Haunting of Bly Manor, and it's by the same director and has a lot of the same actors and actresses in it. So they're kind of doing like an American Horror Story type situation, which is really awesome. Forrest was saying like, this is like a classy American Horror Story, kinda.
Yeah, like American Horror Story is like B-rated trash, and this is like real artful cinema. It's not shock value scares. It's really slow, suspenseful building. Not your typical ghost story. I really like it. I really liked, The Haunting of Hill House. I thought was extremely good. I mean, there's a lot of it, but I feel like it's one of those shows that has so many questions, and it keeps doling out new information and new mysteries that you are just so compelled to watch it. The suspense is really well set up in the show. So you just want to watch all 10 episodes like in one sitting. So you end up with like a 10-hour movie. You know, you have to pace yourself because you have to get things done throughout the day. But I find myself like continually thinking about it ever since we started it. And that's how it was with Hill House too. Mm-hmm. It's just, it's so well acted too. Edited. The cinematography is gorgeous. I don't know exactly who shot it or how they shot it, but it has such a unique look. I feel like nothing actually looks like this show. Like it's sharp, but it's also got this glow to it. The shadows, it's a really there's really dim parts of the shadows, but you can still make out everything. It's not grainy. It's very like clean. It's really interesting. I want to like look up some articles. I bet some people have written articles about it in cinematographer magazines and stuff. So I want to look into it and figure out exactly how they shot it, because it's a really unique look. Yeah. So what other stuff did you want to say about it, Ben?
Well, yeah, I think it's really beautiful. It's scary in the way that it's shot. And yeah, there are some kind of like spooky moments that are just, outright spooky, but I don't think there's any jump scares. I haven't seen any jump scares.
Not really.
And there's not really anything like that gory happening yet. I don't know. I don't think there was in The Haunting of Hill House either. Like, everything that was scary was just...
Well, there's definitely gore and jump scares, but they're very far... There's very few of them compared to, like, American Horror Story.
Yeah, and I really like The Haunting of Hill House because of how emotional it is, I feel like.
Yeah, the characterizations are really strong.
Yeah.
And I love the way it plays with time.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows the characters when they're younger and when they're older, and they're played by different actors, but they all, like, have the same energy. It's really great. Yeah,
if you haven't watched... Haunting of Hill House, I definitely recommend it. The actors are amazing. There's children actors in it as well. It's like half the cast is children, basically.
Yeah.
And they do a phenomenal job. It's crazy. And the casting is so good because it's like adults characters, and then they're children as counterparts. Am I explaining that well?
Yeah.
Like, that's past and present. And the casting is so amazing. They look just like each other, but just at different stages of their life. It's crazy.
Yeah, I would totally recommend checking that out if you haven't already. Mike Flanagan, he's quickly becoming like one of my favorite directors, like really interesting directors. He also did Dr. Sleep, which I thought was really good. And then he also did Gerald's Game, which was really crazy as well. So he's a really interesting guy, and he's a hard worker. You can tell he's just always making something new. He's always working on something. So I think that's really inspiring, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of what he comes out with next. He's working on something called Midnight Mass, and I'm not really sure what that's about, but it's in pre-production. Looks spooky. An isolated island community experiences miraculous events and frightening omens after the arrival of a charismatic, mysterious young priest. Ooh.
That seems lit.
We should just briefly go over like the plot of Bly Manor, though, just to get people intrigued if they haven't heard about it. Like, how would you describe the plot?
Well, so far, it's basically this American woman in the 80s who moves to England to, I guess, kind of escape some situations that she was dealing with in America. And
yeah, you don't want to reveal too much, but yeah, she escaped a mysterious past.
Yeah, a mysterious past in America. Yeah. She moved to England, and she applies for this job as basically a nanny for these two children who lost their parents. And she gets the job. It's about her living in this huge old-timey mansion in England, taking care of these two kids, and there's the driver, there's the groundskeeper, there's the maid, there's the gardener, there's all these other people who work there as well. And yeah, it's really interesting. We're only 4 episodes in as of right now, so yeah, we'll see what goes on.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Oh, and I got an alert on my phone. It's time to begin my fast. Guys, I'm still doing my fasting. A few episodes ago, I talked about this app that I'm doing, and it tells me when I can eat and when I can't eat. And at 10 o'clock, it reminds me I've got to start my fast, and I'm not allowed to eat for 16 hours. So I think after this fast, though, I'll earn another Frosty.
Nice.
Yeah, hopefully. I've got like 44 stars, and I usually get like 5 or 6 stars.
Mm-hmm.
If you go a little bit longer than your fast, you get more stars.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I can eat again at 2 tomorrow. But once I get 50 stars, I can buy another Frosty.
Nice.
All right, let's move on. Yeah, that's a really good show. I would totally check it out. I'm really happy with it, really impressed with it. Netflix is killing it with all these spooky shows.
One more thing I'll say about it is I like the 80s vibe that you get from it, from the Bly Manor one. The outfits are very 80s. I think that's really cool. I like time.
Yeah.
I like timed entertainment.
Yeah, it's just so well done. It's really a sight to behold. All right, we're gonna move right into. Well, have you been confronted by anything this week?
I'm sure I have, but I haven't. I didn't write anything down. I can't remember anything.
Okay, I don't think I've been confronted by anything too big this week. So I'm gonna go ahead and just move right into the marquee topic, and that is Spongebob Squarepants. Are you ready, kids?
Aye, aye, Captain.
I can't hear you.
Aye, aye, Captain.
Oh, who lives in a pineapple under the sea?
Spongebob Squarepants.
Absorbent and yellow and porous is he.
Spongebob Squarepants.
If nautical nonsense be something you wish,
Spongebob Squarepants.
then drop on the deck and flop like a fish.
Spongebob Squarepants.
SpongeBob SquarePants, SpongeBob SquarePants, SpongeBob SquarePants, SpongeBob SquarePants. Wow, it's just so iconic. Like, the theme is incredible, first off. And then the show itself is just like, can you think of like a more iconic show than SpongeBob SquarePants?
No, honestly, I can't.
It's incredible. Like, I love SpongeBob because he's just like, he's always so positive and he's always so optimistic. He never even sees like the flaws in anyone else. Like, Squidward is like his neighbor, and he doesn't see that Squidward's a grouch. You know what I mean? He doesn't see that Squidward's like always like frustrated and annoyed. He's just like, that's my buddy, that's my friend. And same with Patrick. Like, Patrick's just like a total idiot, but SpongeBob doesn't see that. You know, he only sees the good in people. And in these troubled times, we could all learn a lot from SpongeBob. You know, like he's out there just putting out the positivity, and that's why I wanted to talk about SpongeBob today and just kind of go over the show, the history of the show, and maybe go over some of our like favorite moments and characters and stuff like that. So yeah, the show was created by this guy named Stephen Hillenburg. You probably already know this, but he was a marine biologist, and he taught marine biology to children before pitching the show to Nickelodeon. And he had this comic strip that he drew for his classes, and in the comic strips there would be this character named Bob the Sponge. So he ended up developing this show after a friend suggested that he turn his comic strip into a TV pilot. And he went into Nickelodeon and he wore a Hawaiian shirt, and he built an aquarium with all the little characters inside the aquarium, like a little diorama. And he had like a seashell that would play like Hawaiian music if you put it up to your ear. It was really like, you know, like this razzle dazzle pitch. Originally, it was going to be called Spongeboy Ahoy, but
ew.
But they ended up dropping that title because there was already a cleaning product that had copyrighted that title called Spongeboy, kind of like the Sponge Mommy, you know. Maybe it was from the same company.
The Scrub Mom.
Or the Scrub Daddy.
Yeah, Scrub Daddy.
Yeah, we use the sponge. I don't know if you guys have them all around the world, but in America we have this sponge called the Scrub Daddy. And there's also the Scrub Mommy. Mm-hmm. And they're basically sponges that just have like smiley faces on them. So maybe it was the same company. But yeah, the Sponge Boy was already a product. So they couldn't call the show that for some reason. I don't know. I feel like that shouldn't even be legal. Like, you should be able to call your show whatever you want. But whatever. You know, SpongeBob is way better. Spongebob Squarepants. They wanted sponge in the name because they were afraid that kids were going to think he was a block of cheese.
Yeah, he definitely does give me cheese vibes.
Yeah.
His parents are sponges, but they look like chocolate chip cookies.
Yeah, they're more like your classical sea sponges, right?
Yeah.
Like they're shaped kind of like oblong shapes.
Yeah, and they're not yellow, I don't think. They're like brown.
They're like a darker yellow, like
a
mustardy yellow. Yeah, not as fresh and squeaky, and yeah, he's really modeled after like a kitchen sponge, like the ideal like, you know, cleaning product. Yeah. Whereas sponges in the sea are, you know, much more natural looking. But yeah, Stephen Hillenburg, you know, he made this show. He just wanted to create a really, you know, naive kind of childlike character who just was really positive. And, you know, the flip side of that is that SpongeBob, when he doesn't get his way, or when things disappoint him, or when things don't go the way he expected, he just completely loses it. His lows are as big as his highs. So he'll get really, really sad and just like scream and cry about things. And then he'll get really, really happy and just scream and cry about that. So like, he's just a really emotional guy. He really lets his like feelings guide him. and he's overall just a really positive like influence on the world, and he's just like a super big like meme. There's so many like SpongeBob memes and stuff, and so many like classic images that we're all so familiar with. I think it's a great show. What was your first introduction to SpongeBob? Like, what can you remember?
My first introduction to SpongeBob, I was pretty young. I'm pretty sure it came out in 1999, and I was born in 2000. I don't remember the first time I ever watched it because I was always watching it,
Yeah.
Like,
that's kind of how I feel too.
Yeah, it was just always there.
They would always replay like the first few episodes, I feel like, and I know the whole first season almost by heart.
Yeah, it was always just there for me. The first episode I remember, like the farthest back memory of SpongeBob that I have is kind of like, do you guys remember the episode where he catches a butterfly? And then they kept showing like up close of like an actual butterfly.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why. I remember that scared me. So yeah, that's why I remember it.
Yeah.
I was like 4 or 5 and that freaked me the fuck out.
It was always like really surreal like humor. Like they would cut to like live action and they would do gags that just weren't being done anywhere else on television. Just really bizarre stuff that they thought was really funny, and they kind of figured other people would find it funny too, but they really weren't sure. When they first made the first season, they were like, is anyone going to get this? Are kids going to even like this? Mm-hmm. And it obviously became this like huge phenomenon.
Yeah, as a kid, I just liked it. I liked the characters of SpongeBob and Patrick, and, it's visually stimulating to children, I guess, if that's visually entertaining. But yeah, as I got older, like a teenager, and I was watching it with my like nieces and nephew, I started getting the jokes, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is actually really funny. Yeah. Like even as like a teenager and now as an adult, it's like this is actually hilarious.
Yeah, there's a lot of humor for adults too. I feel like they really do a good job of balancing it and making it something that's accessible to everyone. Rewatching it back, you definitely get a lot more jokes. I think it's really cool that SpongeBob is a sponge because one of the principles of animation is squash and stretch, and trying to exaggerate those types of movements can give you really good animation, a really engaging animation. And since SpongeBob is a sponge, he can literally be pulled, from either end. He can be shot across, Bikini Bottom, and he slams into a wall, and he spreads out. He's very porous, and he's and just very stretchable, and I feel like that lends itself really well to animation. Mm-hmm. The animation is just so classic in that show, and it's so inspiring that it was all done originally. It was all done in the States, and I think probably now it's shipped overseas, but it's pretty inspiring to think about the thousands and thousands of drawings that they had to produce every episode. I think they said they had to produce like 20 to 30,000 individual drawings per episode when they first started the show. So I think that's really cool. What was your first reaction to like seeing the SpongeBob SquarePants movie? Do you remember when that came out? It was like 2004, I think, right?
I remember I went to go see it in the theater with my dad. I remember I just thought, because it's such a different format, I feel like, that it's like very movie, like,
Yeah, it's got that movie vibe.
Yeah, it definitely has that movie vibe, and I remember kind of wishing that it didn't have that movie vibe when I was little, or kind of being like, oh, this is weird. It is very surreal, like the beginning with the pirates going to the movie theater and everything.
Very meta.
Yeah, very meta. Like I kind of didn't get it at first when I was 4, or like when it first came out.
Right. I'm gonna go grab Jim. She's messing around. Okay. She's messing around with the gels again. Jim, what are you up to? She's okay actually. She's just kind of up there. She likes to get in my closet and okay, yeah. Alyssa's gonna take a pee break. She likes to get in my closet and sleep on top of all my gels, gels are stuff I use to color my lights. If you don't know, if you're not a filmmaker, you don't know what gels are. They're basically thin sheets of plastic that are colored. You can put them over lights to get different hues. But yeah, I remember the SpongeBob SquarePants movie just being a really big inspiration comically, and I really like how they stepped up their game. It just looks beautiful even today. I mean, it came out in 2004 and it just looks like so crisp. The integration of live action elements and animation is just so well done. I love how they go on this like epic journey. We're introduced to a bunch of different new songs. The soundtrack is amazing. They have to be men, and they're talking about now that they're men, they can do anything. Now that they're men, yeah, it's great. And I love how epic it gets. You know, with the Goofy Goober song and how that turns into like this amazing rock ballad at the end. I think music's always been a strong part of the show, and the vibe that it sets. Bikini Bottom is just such a cool location. There's so many great like locations and characters in the show. Really creative and imaginative. Who is your favorite character, honey?
I'd say my favorite character is Sandy.
Sandy Cheeks.
Sandy Cheeks.
I'm Sandy Cheeks.
One thing I was gonna say that I remember that I thought was funny is that SpongeBob and Patrick, because Sandy's a squirrel, so she can't breathe underwater.
Yeah.
So she has like a suit that allows her to walk around underwater.
Yeah.
But when she's not, but her house is like a big dome.
Yeah.
Where there's no water in it, and it's, you know, just like regular.
And like a tree in the center.
Yeah, there's like a tree. And
it's so dope.
And whenever SpongeBob and Patrick would go visit her, like in her dome, they would have to wear these like fish bowls on their heads, remember?
Yeah.
With water so they could breathe. I think that's such a funny concept, like a squirrel that lives in the ocean.
Wasn't there like a episode where they first go over to visit her and she doesn't know that they need that?
Uh-huh.
And then they just start like drying out.
Yeah.
And they're like trying to be polite and not like say anything, but they're about to die, basically, like all dry and stuff.
That's so funny. Like they don't want to be rude. They don't want. It's so hilarious.
Remember when they dried up in the SpongeBob SquarePants movie?
Yeah.
On the table.
Oh my god, that was so sad. I cried at that part.
That was so emotional. Yeah. In the theater, did you cry?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like they really got. They still get you with that scene.
Yeah.
Because they're like, you know, we almost made it. You know?
And then they're all drying up.
And then they're like singing this Goofy Goober song, like, where are Goofy Goobers? Yeah. And then their like last bit of moisture forms like a heart, and then it drips down and like blows up the light, and the sprinklers go off and they get saturated again, and then all the other fish come back to life too. Mm-hmm. That's great. That's a fantastic sequence. I love how they I love how that like villain, like the deep sea diver character, like just wears the suit like outside of the sea too. He just wears it all the time. It's so funny. My favorite character is probably Plankton. Just because he's so tiny, you know, and he's like always screaming, and like he's always like throwing temper tantrums and stuff. He's got like little man syndrome, like really hard. And
then his wife is a computer.
Oh, Karen, my computer wife. Yeah. He has the chum bucket, which is like sounds disgusting, and it's like literally across the street from the Krusty Krab, mm-hmm. and it's all like there's like cobwebs everywhere, and it's all like gray and just like utilitarian and like horrible. Mm-hmm. And instead of like just like trying to like improve his business, he just like obsesses over like maybe the reason you're not getting any customers, Plankton, is because your place looks like shit and it's dirty and got cobwebs everywhere. Like
he's always trying to get the Krusty Krab secret formula, or like the Krabby Patty formula. Yeah,
he's so cute though too. You know, like I love how when in the movie he gets stepped on by SpongeBob. I think it's in the movie, and then he like tries to scrape him off.
Yeah,
and he's like, ah!
I think it's funny that Mr. Krabs was such like a money hungry dude.
I love Mr. Krabs, and his daughter is like
a whale,
even though he's a crab. Like it makes no sense. Mm-hmm. Maybe she's adopted. Pearl. Dude, all the characters are so like memorable. I feel like they're all my favorite characters, really. Like I like Gary a lot.
Oh, Gary.
Yeah.
Gary the snail.
He meows even though he's a snail. He's like SpongeBob's cat. Yeah, I wanted to get into some conspiracy theories behind SpongeBob.
Okay.
But before we do that, do you have any more memories from the show? Any favorite moments that you can think of? Just standout parts from the original TV show.
I mean, the one thing I can think of I already said was like the Sandy.
Yeah, I like all the background characters. There's always like really funny ass background characters. I really like Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, I thought they're always really funny and hilarious. They're like Batman and Robin, but for like the deep sea. But they're like really old now. That's so funny.
Yeah, like they were like dad and son, right?
Were they?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
But they were both really old. Like the dad was like 90 and the son was like 70 or something.
Yeah, I always thought they were like, I don't know. I never thought that he was the son. I thought they were like more like gay lovers or something.
No,
but
I thought they were. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that. But yeah, that's another thing that the show faced was like a lot of like backlash. Not a lot really, but some backlash from like Christian groups because they were like, SpongeBob is gay, and like we're not letting our kids watch this show. And I think that's how you know it's good, because if the Christian groups don't like it, then you're probably doing something right. Yeah, I like all the Patrick parts, but there's a part with Patrick where he's like trying to give this guy in a wheelchair, like, I forgot what it is. It's like he's trying to give him like a stick or no, yeah, he's trying to teach him how to jellyfish, and this guy's like in a cast, and he's just in a wheelchair like recovering, and he's like, firmly grasp it. And then he gives him the stick and it falls down. He's like, firmly grasp it. You remember this part?
Yeah.
And he's like, firmly grasp it, and fucking slams it through the guy's hand. And oh man, Patrick's the best. All right, I think we can move into the conspiracy theories now. And these are pretty crazy, babes. So hold on to your pants here. The show is a metaphor for pre-World War II Germany. Like so many discussions on the internet, this theory begins with Hitler. The logic goes that Squidward, a failed artist and kind of a jerk with a squid superiority complex, represents Adolf Hitler. He wants to get rid of SpongeBob, who embodies the Jewish people. Patrick stands for German ignorance. He lives alongside SpongeBob and Squidward, but seems totally oblivious to their toxic dynamic. Sandy Cheeks is America, trying to free the Jews from Hitler's tyranny. Finally, Mr. Krabs represents the rest of Europe, which looks down on Hitler and Germany for its role in World War I. I feel like that's pretty thin.
Yeah, I'd have to like watch a video of them elaborating on that, because none of that clicks for me at all.
Yeah, I think they're really stretching with that one. I feel like you could say that for just about anything. But yeah, that's the other thing about Sandy. She's from Texas, remember?
Oh my god, yeah. Oh, that's one thing. Doesn't she have a whole song about Texas?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I want to like rewatch the whole like first few seasons of the show. At least the ones that Steven Hillenburg was the creative director on. All right. SpongeBob is a veteran suffering from PTSD. Some fans have picked up on strange similarities between SpongeBob SquarePants and military veterans. He wears the same thing every day, wakes up at the same time with a horn, and addresses his boss with vaguely militaristic terms like "yes, sir." If SpongeBob is a veteran struggling with PTSD, he might have some weird verbal tics and seek stability in a full-time fry cook gig in a quiet neighborhood. I think he's just kind of a nerd, He's just kind of like a simple dork,
Yeah.
So I think that's where the order kind of comes from. I feel like that's also a stretch. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely a stretch. Where are some good conspiracies?
All right, we're getting to them. The main characters are each addicted to a different drug. Nah, hold on. The patties are actually vegan. Hold on. Krabby Patties are made from crabs. No. It's all about global warming. Okay. Maybe this one's got some weight to it. You probably assume SpongeBob SquarePants, who lives in a pineapple under the sea, is a sea sponge, right? Wrong. For this metaphor to work, he needs to be a kitchen sponge representing human waste and pollution. Mr. Krabs, as SpongeBob's employer, stands in for the large corporations that cause pollution, while Patrick, as SpongeBob's best friend, is Western civilization, i.e. lazy and the main cause of the world's pollution. Squidward is the liberalism that calls for action against climate change, but because no one shares his interest, he's constantly ignored.
That's dumb as fuck.
Yeah, that's stupid too. These are dumb. Okay, here's some ones that I think actually could be true. Squidward is SpongeBob's guardian. While SpongeBob loves spending time with his neighbor, Squidward tolerates him at best. So why doesn't Squidward move or quit his job working alongside SpongeBob at the Krusty Krab? According to a Reddit theory, SpongeBob's secretly rich parents hired Squidward to watch over SpongeBob, who they suspect has ADHD. Though they worried about how their son would fare on his own, they wanted him to have an independent life, so they bought SpongeBob a nice house. How else could he afford it on a fry cook's salary? And gave Squidward a loan to help him move next door. Squidward has served as a sort of guardian ever since, and SpongeBob's parents purchased a deceptively modest home for themselves nearby so they could spend more money on travel. I could see that.
I don't know.
Because why wouldn't Squidward just move?
Well, like, would you move if you just had, like, an annoying neighbor?
I don't know. He seems to be really bothered by SpongeBob. But he also does seem like he has to, like, look out after him. I feel like that would make sense.
Okay.
I could see that one being true. The main characters all represent the 7 deadly sins.
I've heard this one before, too.
Sloth, pride, greed, gluttony, lust, envy, and wrath. They're the 7 deadly sins, but they're also, according to some Nickelodeon viewers, SpongeBob's 7 main characters. Patrick spends most of his day snoring under a rock, so he's a sloth. Mr. Krabs' obsession with money makes him a clear candidate for greed, while Cranky Squidward is a neat stand-in for wrath. Plankton's sole mission in life is to steal the Krabby Patty recipe, and with it, Mr. Krabs' success for himself, which is pretty envious. That leaves gluttony for Gary, pride for Sandy, and lust for overly friendly SpongeBob. Yeah, I feel like that works pretty well, except for, like, Sandy. I don't really think Sandy's, like, that prideful, is she? And lust for SpongeBob?
Yeah, I think lust for SpongeBob is the weirdest one.
Yeah, he definitely, like, wants to do a lot of stuff, but I think he's just, like, happy to do it. I mean, lust, I always kind of imagine as, like, a sexual kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what I thought, too.
Yeah, I don't think SpongeBob's, like, really sexual at all. Like, he never has a girlfriend or boyfriend, really. He's kind of just, like... He's basically like a kid, you know, like he's just like very like naive and innocent, and I don't think he thinks of things in that way. So nice try, guys, on Reddit, but try harder next time. All right, this is the one I think this is actually true. This is the one I agree with most out of all of them. Bikini Bottom is the result of nuclear testing. One of the most popular Spongebob Squarepants theories claims that Bikini Bottom is located directly underneath Bikini Atoll, the Marshall Islands, where the U.S. government conducted 23 nuclear tests during the Cold War. That means SpongeBob and his friends are aquatic mutations whose bodies and minds have been warped by the nuclear waste above. The Bikini Atoll theory would also explain why everyone in this modern underwater community sends letters and dresses like a dad from the 1950s.
This is the strongest one.
It actually makes sense.
Yeah, I could see that, and it's called, like, the Bikini Atoll, and in SpongeBob it's called the Bikini Bottom.
Yeah, and I feel like I saw, like, an interview where the creators of the show said that they, like, named Bikini Bottom after Bikini Atoll. So I could see this, like, actually crossing the creators' minds. All the other theories, I feel like the creators never even thought of or, you know, were intentional by the people who created the show. Mm-hmm. They're just kind of, like, fun theories. Whereas this one, you know, maybe this is what they had in mind when they were creating all these wacky characters. But also, it's just a cartoon, so it doesn't have to be explained. It's just a goofy show. All right, that was fun. What do you think about those, huh?
Honestly, I feel like those were pretty weak, except for the last one.
Do better, Reddit. Okay, I guess we'll wrap up the SpongeBob chat. That was pretty fun. It's just a really great show. I'm really inspired by SpongeBob. I think it's just epic, you know? Like, it's gonna go down... It already has gone down in history as one of the most iconic shows of all time. All right, let's move into the hot takes for this week. Gonna move right on in to the hot takes. I put up the call on the community tab of my main channel, and we got 67 responses. Nice. All right, I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back for these hot takes. Okay, we got a hot take from Trey of War, and he says, challenging a fan base is better than catering to them. I totally agree to that. I think most fan bases are pretty toxic in nature, and they just want to see the same thing over and over again, or they have terrible ideas. So creators who succumb to their fan base or apologize or try to cater to them are always going to end up with an inferior product. What do you think, hon?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. A lot of fan bases that I know of are really cringy And I think that like the culture around a lot of fan bases is really cringe. So yeah, I think it's better to challenge those people instead of just like giving them what they want, because then it would just be boring.
What fan bases in particular do you think are the most cringy?
I think Star Wars is really annoying.
Yeah, that's one of the worst ones.
DC is really annoying.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately. And those are two things I really love too. Like those two properties.
I feel like the things that are not very good tend to have like the worst fan bases, because DC movies are not very good, like, you know.
But the comics are good.
Well, yeah, the comics are good, but
and like there are good DC movies, like the Dark Knight series and the animated cartoons.
Yeah, but that was a while ago.
Yeah, that's old.
There
news.
hasn't been a good one in a while.
That's old news. Seriously.
So yeah, I would definitely rather have those fan bases challenged, or, you know, if you're making something. If a director was making something and he was like, oh, well, I can't do this because it's going to make the fans mad, like, I would just kind of, like, not care or, like, respect his work.
Yeah, that's kind of something I try to, like, lean into, you know? Like, I kind of like the idea of making the fans mad. Like, I don't always want to just make everyone happy and please everyone, because it's a lot more interesting to me to kind of get a knee-jerk reaction. That's why I've always tried to, like, differentiate the type of content I put on my channel. And it's always pissed people off in the past, but I kind of find that funny and insightful in a way. All right, we got another hot take from For Entertainment, and he says, Lego minifigs could be improved upon, but we're so used to the design that it won't happen. I have to disagree with that. I think the design is perfect. If we improve upon it anymore, I think he's probably referring to like more posable arms and stuff like that. But I mean, honestly, that would just make it too complicated. That would make it too much like Mega Bloks, and we all know how those go, you know, not too well. I think, you know, for the purposes of animation, obviously it's frustrating that the arms don't rotate, you know, in multiple directions or around their sockets. They're kind of locked in place. But for the purposes of a play toy, which is mainly what they're for, I think it's genius, you know, to simplify the design, especially since they're so small. I think there have been modifications to the Legos over the years, though. Like there's like the little short kid feet now that are posable, but also make the kids shorter. You know, for the longest time, the feet on younger kids was you couldn't move the legs, but now the legs can move, and that's a huge plus. Well, what do you think, hon? Do you think they should change the design of the minifig?
No, I like the Lego minifigs.
It's simple.
It's simple. It's cute. It's recognizable.
Right.
I'm not quite sure what he means. Maybe, like, does he mean making them look more realistic? Because I'm not sure how you can improve.
I think he said Lego minifigs could be improved upon, but we're so used to the design that it won't happen. So yeah, I'm thinking he means like the actual literal like design of the body, of the torso and the legs and the head and the hair. I think what he's talking about, he's probably just talking about like giving them more posability. Like he's probably talking about having joints in the knees so they can bend their knees, having joints in the elbows so they can bend their arms or rotate their arms more. But honestly, that just complicates it and makes the structure weaker.
Yeah, I don't think they need that. I like how they are right now.
Totally. All right, it says, Jake A. says, the Duck Song is the greatest song of the 21st century. Now, I got to disagree. That's got to go to WAP by Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion. All right. And then next we have Adidas is better than Nike, says Zion Grayson. No, Nike's better. The prequels are overrated. Yes? No? I don't know. Whatever. The Spider-Man 2 is overrated. No. Walking Phoenix was a better Joker than Heath Ledger. Joker, no. Come on, guys. Hit me with these hot takes. Come on.
I'll agree with you who said Adidas is better than Nike.
Ew, babe.
I like Adidas better than I like Nike.
Babe, no. Hold on. Stop. Why?
I don't know. I just am more drawn to Adidas, I guess.
Why?
I have Adidas. I don't have anything Nike.
I bought you those Nike slides.
Oh, I like my Nike slides.
Yeah, I thought you said you liked them. You said they were cozy.
They are cozy.
Well, maybe I'll take them away from you now.
I guess I like both.
I might as well just throw them in the trash.
No, babe. I forgot about them, but I like them.
Nike's way classier than Adidas. Adidas looks like used trash. I think you should never wear it. Nike is far superior. They've got a better logo. They look cooler. They have better designs. Just swankier in general. It's more classy. All right. Charlos the Bean. He said the right way to make a PB&J is to toast the bread first.
That's crazy. I've never thought of that.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Bread toasted is just better than bread not toasted.
That kind of sounds like it would just be like toast with peanut butter and jelly on it, which I'm all for. That sounds great.
Isn't the idea of toast like crazy? Because like a motherfucker had to have the idea to cook bread twice. Mm-hmm. It's genius. I mean, we should honestly only have double cooked bread. A lot of Star Wars opinions. I don't really care about the Star Wars opinions. When I ask for hot takes, I'm generally looking for more like stuff that isn't about like, you know, Batman or Star Wars. You know, that's kind of like my main fan base, and like, you know, honestly, I kind of expect that, but I'm kind of looking for more like serious issues,
like real world, real life,
or just interesting issues about like life and stuff. Yeah, because like we all have opinions on shows, but like it's more interesting when we have opinions on like politics or like something that's like affects all of us or that we can all relate to. An opinion on a show is kind of just an opinion. It's not really an argument that can be made. It's like, I just like the show because it appeals to me. Whereas you can make an argument for something that's a little bit more real and legitimate. Fathers shouldn't be expected to be involved with their kids nor pay child support if their mother tricked them to get pregnant. That's from Brad Lee.
Well, my opinion on this is if you don't want to have a child with a woman, don't come in her. So how would someone trick you?
Like if they like poked holes in condoms, or if they said that like they took the birth control and they didn't.
Well, don't trust them. Always pull out.
Never trust a hoe.
That's your own fault. If you're not, yeah, I definitely think it's your own fault. Like she's obviously it's her fault, but you know, you could have avoided that by not coming in her.
Just assume all women are crazy and you'll have a better time.
Yeah, I would say only come in women who you would be comfortable having a child with.
Right. Right, exactly. Yeah, I don't think... And I also kind of... I think that if you have a kid, you should support them, no matter what.
Yeah.
Like, so, I'm not really sure... Legally, he says fathers shouldn't be expected to be involved with their kids, nor pay child support if their mother tricked them to get pregnant. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to go ahead and just disagree. I mean, like, if it's your kid, it's your kid, and if it has your DNA in it, and you're the father, then you should be involved with them, and you should help support them in some way.
Yeah, and it honestly sounds like their mom is kind of whack. She's kind of crazy, so they need some support from their dad.
They need some like real structure in their lives. Yeah, or else they're just gonna be raised by this crazy person.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that happened, but it doesn't make them not your kid anymore. They're still your kid.
Yeah, and they deserve to have a father in their life.
I can see why Brad would say that, but no, man, you gotta take responsibility. That's the right thing to do. All right, we got Batman vs. Superman is miles ahead of Captain America Civil War. Wrong. Mulan 2020 isn't as bad as everyone's making it out to be. Haven't seen it. I heard it was really bad, though. There's just so many, like, Star Wars and Avengers and Batman hot takes. I think we got through all the best hot takes. Reese's commercials are the worst thing to plague society. Haven't seen a Reese's commercial. Haven't seen any commercials in years. I have ad block on. And I pay for YouTube Plus. Is it YouTube Plus? YouTube Premium. So I haven't seen an ad in a long time. Okay, thanks for the hot takes, guys. I appreciate it. You know, even though most of them were about Batman or Star Wars, I do appreciate everyone's enthusiasm and trying to get me some content to react to on this podcast. If you have a hot take, please tweet me at ForestFire101. Or if you have a good, juicy, drama-filled story, or just need some advice on something, you can go ahead and email us at justforclickspod@gmail.com. Okay, let's move right into the emails here. We got a couple emails this week from a few different individuals, and I'm about to read them. You ready, babe?
Yes.
Okay. We got an email from Ryan. He says, "Life advice, please help. Hey, Forrest, big fan of your animations ever since the early Lego Batman days. I hope you're well. Saw you mention on Instagram that you are looking to help with some life problems, so if you could take a stab at mine, I'd very much appreciate it. I've been dating a girl for just over 2 years now. We were official for 1 year, then broke up for a few months. For the past few months, we have been sleeping together and occasionally going out together. I've made it clear that I don't want a relationship, but I still feel like I'm leading her on by seeing her. Should I call it quits or maybe consider making it official again? Let me know what you think. All the best, Ryan from the UK. I would move on. It sounds like you're not really interested in her, and it sounds like she wants to be with you, so you should probably just try to move on and find other people, because if you're not interested in doing anything further with her, then you're kind of just wasting your time and hers. I mean, it's an easy hookup, it's fun to get together, but if you know it's not going to work out, then I feel like your time could be better spent pursuing other more passionate interests. What do you think, hon?
I feel like you're definitely leading her on if you keep seeing her and having sex with her. If you don't really want to be with her, I mean, if you think that you want to be with her again, then yeah, you should. But if you're on the fence about it, then that's probably a no. You probably don't really want to be with her if you're just like thinking about it, like weighing the options or whatever.
Just call it quits, dude, because there's no time to dilly-dally. If you were like, yeah, I really like her, then I would say go for it, but it doesn't sound like you're there. She's more just like convenient for you, and I'm not really sure what her feelings are for you, but it sounds like you dated for like a whole year and it didn't work out. So I would just break up, because really, like, if it was just like a hookup thing, then that's fine. But the fact that you dated for a whole year, then broke up, and now you're hooking up every now and again, I mean, I've been in similar situations, and it's just not healthy. It's just better just to pull the plug, and that's eventually what I had to do too. And it's hard because, you want to still see them and stuff, but over time it gets better, and you'll just be able to move on a lot easier, and it'll be a lot more freeing to you and to them. You're really doing a service to both of you. But one of you has to make that decision and just stick with it. All right, cool. Let's move on to the next email. From Peter. What should I do? Hi, currently I'm a theater major at my local community college, and I'm in my second year. I've been asked multiple times what I'm going to do after this year, mostly if I'm going to be transferring and where I'm going. Thing is, I'm not really sure if I want to transfer to another school or not. I'd love to learn more about acting and all, but I don't know if I want to keep going to school or if I should just throw myself out there and see what happens. What do you think? Anything helps. By the way, big fan of your work, Forrest. Best, Peter. What do you think Peter should do, hon?
Well, you know us. We didn't go to college. I mean, Forrest went to a little bit, but not like... He didn't go to movie college or film college or anything.
Yeah, I don't have a degree or anything.
Yeah, so we didn't go to college. So, I mean, I would probably advise you to just throw yourself into the acting theater world without further college. I think college is honestly like a waste of money and time. I mean, I guess you get experience and you get to do plays while you're in college, but yeah, I think just like the bigger your portfolio is, your talent will speak for itself.
Yeah, I mean, I think his situation's a little bit different than ours. He wants to be an actor. And I feel like you can't just like make a movie like how I can and get attention online. To be an actor, you really have to know other actors and know other people who are casting productions, and you have to be in plays and stuff. So I feel like almost he should stay in college, because that's going to be the best way to meet other people and really be engaged in this like lively industry. If you quit now, I mean, you're already in your second year. I mean, you've got like 2 more years to finish your major, or to finish your degree, I'm assuming. So yeah, I would transfer to a school that you're really excited about and work on meeting new people and establishing connection, especially like in this COVID-19 situation. I feel like there's a lot of, obviously plays and things that are being put on hold, and movies that aren't being shot right now, and it will all pick up again soon eventually. I mean, it already has started, but coming to LA or coming to New York and trying to get a job, I think that's going to be even harder than it was before, and that's already pretty hard if you don't know anyone. So I would almost just suggest that you find a college and go to it for what you're trying to pursue. But also, I'm not really well versed in the theater world. I don't really know what that's like, so I would just really go with your gut and try to find a position where you're surrounded by other actors and other people in your trade, and you can actually participate in productions. And whether that be, through school or through something else, you have to definitely put yourself out there. You can't just kind of like show up in LA or New York and just like rent a flat and just like start getting jobs. I mean, maybe you can but it all starts with meeting the right people. And I think you can definitely meet a lot of the people you need to meet by going to college. Yeah, I usually advise against college, but for this type of situation, I think it might be in your best interest, especially since you've already done 2 years at community college. If you've just got 2 more years to finish out, it also depends on if it's a financial burden for you. I mean, if you can afford it, then I would say definitely do it. If it's causing you a lot of financial strain, then I would maybe consider other options because, yeah, that can be challenging as well. Nice. We got busted through 2 emails right there. We got 2 more. One from Mike. He says, does common traits help relationships? I really liked the last episode with Alyssa. Your chemistry is fantastic. I've been doing YouTube since I was 7, and I'm pretty big now, and I don't want to disclose my channel name. Just call me Mike. I have a question related to relationships. Do you think the best relationships stem from things had in common? You and Alyssa have art in common, but not all people dating have many things in common. Not all relationships are perfect. My last relationship was with this girl from my writing club in school, and we would hook up after club in the stairwell, and she was an emotionally unstable emo bitch, but hookups were good, and she helped me to write better. What things do you have in common with Alyssa, and do you think this helps with relationships? Good question. What things do we have in common, hon?
I mean, I feel like the biggest, most important things that you should need to have in common with someone is if you want to be together forever, or if it's kind of just like, if marriage is a goal, or if like having children is a goal.
Yeah, like what are your life goals together?
Yeah, like that's the biggest thing that I feel like me and Forrest had in common, because we really don't have like that much in common.
I really like the fact that you were into like comic books and stuff when I first met you.
Yeah, we're into comic books. When we first met, I was super into comics. But yeah, like the biggest things was like we both saw like ourselves getting married in the near future, like in our 20s or whatever. And we both saw ourselves having children. Like we both wanted lots of kids, and that was attractive to me. So I think like that's the most important things that you need to have in common, and also like where you're gonna live and stuff like that. Like
and like what your kind of roles are gonna be in your life. Like Alyssa, she told me she always wanted to be a mom and like a caretaker for our kids, and she was like really excited by the idea of homeschooling, which was the kind of person I was looking to have kids with. I want our kids to be raised by like us and to be raised by their mother and not by like the government or like the public school system. So I think, for our relationship, I really want to be able to work and provide most of the income. Maybe Alyssa can work a little bit, but mainly I want her to focus on the mothering and the raising of our kids while I, bring home the cash. That's kind of like my goal, and like that's what Alyssa wanted too. So I think that we had that in common. I think everything else is really superfluous. I mean, like your interests will come and go. I like that she was into DC Comics and stuff, but yeah, really, it's just about like your chemistry, and if you work well together, hopefully you don't get into too many fights, that sort of thing.
Like the kind of common interests that you have, aside from the big life goals and everything, is just kind of things to talk about, like on your first dates, kind of. Like, if that makes sense. Like
Alyssa was really into politics, and she still is, and she's gotten me a lot more into politics than I ever was before I met her. So I like that about her. I like that she's passionate about like sensitive issues, and she's willing to like have these like deep discussions. A lot of times we don't agree on politics and things, but I like the fact that she's willing to talk about them, and she's willing to put herself out there, because a lot of people just try to avoid politics, and I think that's something I'm guilty of, and I think it's a sign of maturity to try to explore those topics in a genuine way. So that's something I really respected about her right off the bat. All right, let's move on to our last email of the night. Ghost stories. This is from Joshua. Okay, he says, "Hey Forrest, I was on the 3rd episode of the podcast, but I guess you're looking for some ghost stories, so here you go. Also, I only believe in aliens and reincarnation, but I like to keep an open mind. Also, I'm not religious. Nice. All right, good to know. So the first ghost story I can think of happened to my sister, my mom, and I. We have all had a similar experience when laying on the couch watching TV. We've seen a dark figure walking through the kitchen out of the corner of our eye. Not much else to it. Also, in that same house, our cat's litter box is downstairs with the garage, storage room, and workout room. We used to leave the workout room door open, and many times I've seen some 9-foot tall white dude leaned over standing in the workout room when I've walked by to go up the stairs. Ew.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, hon?
I hate it. Thanks, I hate it.
Not so sure about that second one, as the dude looked a lot like one in the movie It Follows, but still scared the fuck out of me, and I'm pretty sure I started seeing him before I saw that movie. Second house. I briefly lived in a house up in the woods where not many people go with really shitty roads, but that's besides the point. I used to have to film custom Lego minifigure videos in the basement because my family is loud as fuck, though I only recorded 3 videos down there. All 3 times when I was down there, I kept having to turn around and stuff because I felt like someone was watching me. And I don't remember if any of that actually stayed in the videos, but yeah, not much else to that one. Could have just been me being a scared little 13-year-old. Third house. This is the house where I'm filming the movie I talked about last time. My sister moved out for college recently, so that's rad for filming. But anyway, I mainly have to film at night in my room across from hers, and I swear I've seen people standing in her room so many times. Also, it seems like every time I look at her door, it's open a little more, but that could be our cat. Same exact thing happens with the room downstairs directly below hers with the people and the door and all. Finally, same house. While I've been filming at 11 at night, I've sometimes heard knocking coming from downstairs and around the door area. Ew. I don't know, it could just be me being tired. Bro, I don't think it's just you being tired. That's pretty much it for the ghost stories. Ironically, the one house I haven't had any weird things happen in supposedly had someone hang themselves in the basement, so that's cool. The end. By the way, thanks for the advice from last time. Really helped out. Lit. That's creepy, dude. It sounds like a you problem, honestly. There's probably spirits in every house, but I feel like it takes a special person to see them. So I think you may be more attuned into that spirit realm than others. Yeah, hopefully you're okay, man. That sounds kind of creepy. What do you think, babe?
The 9-foot tall man that you saw, and then the knocking on the doors and stuff seems like, wow, that's actually freaky or something that tangible. But I'm the same way. I always see things out of the corner of my eye and everything. I've always been that way. And I honestly think it's a me thing. I'm just kind of spooked or scared a lot especially if I just watched a scary movie or something scary or read a scary story.
It's so funny because after we're done watching an episode of Bly Manor, Alyssa's come with me to the bathroom, I'm scared, and then I have to watch her pee or whatever.
Yeah, totally.
It's so funny. We live in such a tiny apartment too.
Yeah,
I feel like I could just come running if you ever needed anything. It's not like we live in a giant mansion or anything.
Yeah.
That would be creepy though, if we lived in a big house where it took forever to get around.
Yeah, that actually made me, watching Bly Manor actually scared me away from wanting a big house, because kind of recently being pregnant and having a baby on the way, I'm thinking eventually we're gonna need a bigger to live in a house, a bigger space, but now I'm no, I kind of like living in this apartment.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
But yeah, so
what if we move into a house and it's got a BuzzFeed Unsolved thing, like that Hannah Hart, is that her name?
Oh, Hannah Williams.
Hannah Williams.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't seen it, there's this show on BuzzFeed called BuzzFeed Unsolved, and it's got Shane and what's the other guy's name?
Ryan, I think.
Shane and Ryan, and they do paranormal haunting investigations, and they're really funny and entertaining guys. But they interviewed one of their coworkers, Hannah, and she talks about how her house was haunted, and they had these really horrible experiences. I mean, so yeah, I definitely believe in ghosts, and I think I don't really know what to call them, apparitions, spirits, whatever, ghosts, but just basically entities that we can't explain, we don't really know much about, so obviously we're scared of them, but most of them are probably not that harmful. They probably just seem spooky. The 9-foot tall dude though, that sounds fucked up. How does he even get around the house? 9 feet is really tall.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to like crouch under doors. That sounds really uncomfortable. Thanks for writing in, Joshua. Bring on the spooks, guys. We still got like 2 more weeks in October. We still have plenty of time to spook it up. I love Halloween. I love getting spooked. We got a new episode of the commentary videos. I don't know what to call them. Like, should they have a name? I don't know. The Just for Clicks movie commentaries. You know, we're doing one a week from now until the end of time. What's the next one we got coming out? Oh yeah, on Wednesday we got Scream coming out. So you can watch Alyssa and I react to the movie Scream. And then the next week we have the movie It coming out, reacting to the newest version of It. So yeah, if you have any emails, if you have any juicy drama-filled stories, go ahead and email me, justforclickspod@gmail.com. Or yeah, you can send me your hot takes on my Twitter or suggest movies for us to watch in the comments section of the videos. So thanks for listening, guys. We'll be with you again next week. Same bat time, same bat place.
Bye, everyone.